Welcome back to another episode of Freedom Blueprint Podcast. I'm your host, Justin Deese. And listen, before we jump into today's episode, I wanted to share something pretty cool that we're doing. You know, one of the biggest challenges I hear from owners across the country is in finding and developing great service managers. And honestly, that's exactly why we created Service Manager Academy. This is a 12-week program to help your managers go from top performing technicians to confident leaders. In this program, they'll learn how to lead their teams, protect gross profit margin, and create a culture of accountability and success. If you want the business to run smoother and grow stronger, check out servicemanagertraining.com. That's servicemanagertraining.com. Now, let's get back to the next episode.
Running a home service business is hard. So how is it that some people make it look so easy? Well, we'll tell you. This is the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. It's always good to hear the wins that successful contractors have. But have you ever thought that the best advice would be to hear about the speed bumps they encountered, the mistakes they've made along the way? We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. We want you to be successful and avoid the mistakes others have made. Let's get this party started. Welcome to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Now your host, Justin Deese.
Welcome back to another episode of Freedom Blueprint Podcast. I am your host, Justin Deese, and I am hanging out with my buddy Scott Irwin from Down Under. Scott, thanks for coming and hanging out, man.
No worries. So good to meet you, finally.
Yeah. You know, what's crazy is we'd never met, and your name came up 2 or 3 times in the matter of a 10-day period to me. And they were like, "Oh, you got to connect with Scott." And so that was pretty cool. Anytime you hear somebody's name multiple times from people that you've known for a long time, you kind of go, "How did I not know them?"
It's a small industry, right across the world. It's amazing, the connection.
Yeah. And it was
East Coast, West Coast, Australia, everywhere. It's amazing. It really is.
Yeah, very cool. So Scott, tell us a little bit about your company that you have now.
Okay, so this journey started back in 1987, November. So 37 years today, a week ago. And
Congrats.
We started with one truck, one guy. And we ended up at, I think, 84 trucks in Sydney with a staff of 100. The journey, hey, there's been a lot of learning curves along the way, and business has changed dramatically over that 37 years of what we do and how we do to today, to what we started with. And a lot harder today, I would say, in a lot of ways. The staffing issue is always a problem for everyone, I would say, in both countries. And that never used to be as hard as it is today. But infrastructure spends from government sort of sucked all our resources of humans. So, yeah, it's been challenging but fun. Blessed with an awesome team.
So now what all trades do you guys cover right now?
So we do handyman, aircon, electrical, plumbing.
Okay, so you guys have a wide variety.
We need the handyman to fix the plumbing mistakes.
You're like, I mean, we got to do drywall. What the heck? We might as well,
do it
in house. So let me ask you this. So for the audience listening, if you're looking at a map of Australia, where do you guys have 1 or 2 locations?
So we have 2 locations. We're in Sydney and Melbourne, which is all East Coast. So if you start at the map of Australia, you start at the top. It comes down Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria. Across the bottom is South Australia into the Western Australia. We are on the East Coast in 2 states.
Okay, fantastic. And so running 100 trucks or 100 staff, 84 trucks.
No, that's in Sydney. And in Melbourne, we're running, I'm thinking, 40 trucks down there.
Okay.
Melbourne's a great place. I mean, all Sydney East Coast, all Australia East Coast is fantastic.
So obviously you travel quite a bit over to the US. Not as many people from the US travel to Australia. So let me ask you this. Most of the stuff here in the States ends up being, if it's a multi-trade, it's plumbing, AC, and electrical. I've noticed that in Australia, there seems to be a little bit bigger blend. Sometimes I've seen roofing, and some handyman stuff. What is the normal blend there? Is it plumbing, AC, and electrical?
Normal blends, plumbing.
Okay.
All right. Very, very single trade focused. Like only recently have people decided to go multi trade in the last 5, 7 years.
And why do you think that is?
Oh, it's you've got a massive data, well, in our case, right? Massive database where you've done plumbing for 30 years and you turn around and go, well, if I can offer those same people great electrical service and great aircon service, it's going to be a win without actually having to do too much marketing to get it.
Well, I think that's a good idea. Plus, I mean, the cost to acquire a customer. So you think about now versus 10 years ago, 15 years, 20 years ago. It's certainly, I don't know what it is in Australia, but I do know that in the US, it's out of control, the
Yeah.
way it is.
It's expensive everywhere to acquire customers. That's why you got to keep your customers.
Yeah.
In network, yeah, we were 72% repeat clientele.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Mm. It's a pretty
Yeah.
good effort. And I think our staff's the same. 72 repeat with our staff, they was retention's awesome. We are blessed with an unbelievable team here.
Very cool. I mean, and that's a large team. That's a big group. So let me ask you this. So being that you've been in the business so long, obviously you're coming out of a conference, which we'll talk about here in a few minutes. But I'm sure part of the conference there was a lot of conversation around AI. Is that a
Yeah, the always a lot of conversation around AI, but you got to remember we're all human, right? And humans like to talk to humans, so don't lose
Mm.
touch of reality.
So I was at Service World last week, and we were everybody was breaking down their booths, and I was standing back by the podcast stage, talking to some of the guys back there, and I looked around and I said, "Isn't it interesting that all of these AI booths here, they all have people breaking down their booths?" Like I feel like from the trades, we're in a decent spot when it comes to AI. Before we got to worry about them, they can't even set up their own booths yet.
Well, then exactly right. So if you're a white collar worker, I think you you've really got to choose your career well,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're not hopping in a truck and driving to someone's house to service that house or their needs, your job's on the block.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of retraining is going to happen over the next 5 years from the white collar to the blue collar, which it's going to be sad in a lot of ways, but that's what AI does, replaces people.
Well, and you think about, that this is not the first time that technology has replaced people, and typically people get, they get a little bit in the box about it and they get a little bit concerned about it. But then what happens is it ends up creating other jobs, right? So, for instance, they used to bring milk to your door and they used to bring ice to your house, and now there's refrigerators, and now there's people that sell refrigerators and maintain refrigerators, all the things. So I would imagine as AI starts to take over some of those tasks. I would imagine that's going to happen, but who knows?
It's a really fast moving section, right? AI, and it's learning so quickly. So the next 2 years be a different landscape. 5 years, who knows?
Yeah, who knows? So let's back up away from AI just a little bit. So 37 years ago, you guys are just celebrating your anniversary, which congratulations. That is a huge feat. What did technology look like back then?
Pager and a public phone,
So you had a pocket full of quarters.
pocket full of 20-cent pieces here, and you'd hope the mobile phone that not the mobile, the public phone you went to wasn't vandalized.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, that's where we started at, right? And then we got cell phones, and then we progressed to where we are today with iPhones, iPads. The technology change has been phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, and you think about how different it is to manage business now versus then. And you said this earlier. You kind of alluded to it. It might have been easier then than it is now because there's so many different pieces and moving parts to it. Marketing back in the day used to be. Well, I don't know about over there, but here it was. Hey, you set up a Yellow Pages and you put the biggest ad that comes up first, and
100%. Yeah, that's what it started as. Now, well, the Yellow Pages isn't to be seen anywhere. The other, what what really changes is what I was just looking at yesterday. The amount of software we run in a business today, and
yeah,
I'd be say that your business will be the same, just to collect information and data and put the right people in the right spot. The programs we run is insane for
and it's not
something that
cheap.
seems so simple, right?
Hmm.
Answer the phone, send a truck, but all the workings behind that over the last 30 years is just off the charts with the change.
Yeah, and I'll say, and I know you're a Service Titan user, and for all of our businesses, we use Service Titan as well. And it was really amazing because before Service Titan, we were on a different, and we've been on Service Titan for I don't know, dozen plus years. They were pretty early when we jumped on board with them. But right before that, we had a software that we were on for a couple years, and before that, we were using an appointment book for like hair salons. Is how we kept
Yeah.
track of where everybody went. And now it's really cool because you can know your business and where you stand with all your KPIs so quickly now.
Instant reporting.
Yeah. So how
So,
do how does having self-reporting and instant reporting, how does that help you and your team kind of navigate the day and make decisions?
I don't know if it really helps you make decisions. If you're really, really honest, there's so much information for our DSRs to grab, right? And maybe we get lost in the reality of just, hey, get someone to someone's house or the right person to that house and help that person solve the problems. That's sort of where we get lost and we go down all the data or the rabbit holes. I'm a really big believer keep it simple. So probably if you're looking at all the software we have in the service time world, the Dispatch Pro,
Yeah.
or what do they call ProBook or Dispatch Pro? Whichever it is that we use to best tech, closest tech, that's probably the
Hmm.
pick of the lot. And
Yeah.
that takes a whole bunch of emotion out of between your DSR and your service tech, which is pretty cool.
Well, and data driven information, it is always nice to one have data to make decisions, and two, if you have the data and you don't have to make the decision, something else is making the decision. That's even better. Which again, that's an advantage to AI. An advantage to
Yeah,
AI is that they're not thinking about, do I like this person the most or do I not like the
that
person? It's like, no, no,
is
no. Here's how they're
that is it.
closing.
Yeah,
Send them.
yeah. So that part really works really well. And if you want, you're talking scalability in a business, right? You've got to have that software in because
Yeah.
otherwise it's the scale of this so hard. And now you can go, okay, you can scale this anywhere, and you don't really need to be there. That your processor will take care of it. That's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it certainly makes running a bit. I mean, and that's one of the tricks with our industry is the amount of technology. I mean, the amount of technology that's changed in all industries has been big, but I feel like in our specific, there's been like this huge shift. I mean, 20 years ago, let's say early 2000s, like early, like 2000, 2001, 2002. I mean, we still had guys using map books. Sure, we had cell phones, but they were still very limited on where they worked. I mean, we didn't. I mean, I remember when TomTom GPS came out, and like the individual GPS you could put up there, and man, that made such a big difference. And it's crazy how all that stuff has evolved so quickly.
So we'll go back. So 1987, sounding old, right? We had job cards. I think I was running, well, let's fast forward 93. I was probably running 12 guys. And we had these A4 job cards. And we would go, there's your job run for the day. In order, all the customers run from a landline onto the, and off they go. And they'd leave at 7 o'clock and they'd be back at 4:30, 5 o'clock when they return. all the job cards filled out. There's your day.
I mean, in 93, there were cell phones, but they were very limited. They were not very mainstream. I guess there was pagers but that was still kind of a new technology. And I mean, there was no Google.
Definitely no Google. It was like letterbox drop.
Yeah. If
Word of
you got
mouth
on internet,
and a yellow pages. And that was
yeah.
it. I was thinking about this the other day. I remember seeing flyers go out, even in yellow pages ads, mobile numbers, speak to the plumber live now. What a pain in the ass that was.
If you're the plumber, you're like, hey.
Yeah, what are you doing? It's a shocker. But I guess that's the other thing you look at today's people that work with you, right? Especially kids on the field, they're so phone reliant. The whole world revolves around this little Apple phone or Google, whatever they're using, and it's their world. That whole world lives in that phone for them. Scary stuff.
But I tell you what, I know for me, when I get a couple of days where my phone doesn't work or I don't have to have it on me, man, there's just such a different sense of relief and peace that I have.
The inner peace. I was talking to a person yesterday. He said that when she travelled, she left the country and no phone. Right, this is way back. So she's no phone, and as she was, and it might be a Nokia she had. Right, so this is before iPhone. She's 18 months away travelling, so your phone doesn't work that well, and you're here and there, and your internet cafes. Remember those?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you stay in contact every way. She gets home and the Apple phone's been released. And the world changes when that happened.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the beginning of it, right?
I can remember getting the very first iPhone and thinking, how do they have all this stuff in this little bitty phone? Because before that, we were all using Nextels, so all of our guys were like, beep, beep. Then you were having to make sure that whoever was on the other end was
near it.
Appropriate.
Yeah. And then if you go back to an old Apple, how slower is the processing? Like you go back to the first gen Apple and if you had one still that still worked, we're instant here, right? We're talking across the world on a phone and it's instant. Back then, that was so slow. It was like dial up.
Mm-hmm.
Sound like a dinosaur. They'll probably move on for this subject.
Hey, so let's talk a little bit about, because we mentioned Service Titan a little earlier, and you just had an event there in Australia for Service Titan. Walk us through kind of how you got set up with Service Titan, what that looked like, and what that looks like today.
One back 3 years ago, August. So my wife and I, and this is when Ara and Vahe used to go to trade shows. Just how long ago this was. We would always be like, come on, can we bring this to Australia? And it's forever no. So then I just happened to be in the States, met up with Vahe, introduced to Tom Howard, and Tom was going, no, can't do it, won't happen, too many hassles. So this went on for years, right? And then ultimately we got in front of Tom. I said, let's just give this a crack. And he said, I reckon we can do this. And with the blessing of Vahe, that's how we got Service Titan to the country. So we brought it in. Tom came over for 2 weeks with a gentleman called Matt Rowell, and they got it up and going. So no one else in Service Titan knew except Vahe this was happening. So we started, and then that's the pilot program. So we run for about 6 months, and we swapped, I'm thinking, in the first round, maybe 75 texts straight over to it in network at that time. And then we did and we had to change accounting software at the same time to make this work. So it was a real nightmare and difficult. But Service Titan and dealing with everything in Service Titan has been the most accommodating people in so many ways. Especially in just nothing was a hassle, even though the technology didn't get there where you wanted as quick enough, but they were always a delight to deal with. So on 6 months from there, then Keith and Ross came out, and Tom, a couple other guys, Matt, and then we put 12 companies onto it. pilot program after we'd gone through, tested what we could work. And we're only functionality, probably 40% of the software. So, and then that was the first year we do that. And then we start getting better. We start getting more functionality. Systems and processes get better. We learn more, right?
Mm-hmm.
And today, I think we've got 95 companies in Australia on service time.
That is very cool.
And we get with that, we get more R&D dollars. We get better processes and more attention. So now we can really start to move a software that's going to change the landscape of this industry in this country.
Well, and I think about it because that's been how many years ago since you guys were able to start getting on it?
3 years. 3 years
Okay.
ago in August, when we started.
And
So
y'all were pecking away at it for years.
Oh, we waited for years since when you guys were on it, we were waiting for it.
That's pretty neat. But let me ask you this: what do you think the holdup was to allow companies in Australia to be on the software?
It's so busy in the US. You remember the population difference, right? You guys are 300 million plus. We're not even 30 million. So it's a lot easier to stay where you are when you're really busy than it is to go look around the world for a global market.
Yeah. And plus there's a huge time difference. So they're supporting.
Yeah, support's only just gone 24 hours in the last month or 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so it's all right on the west coast to Australia, Sydney to LA is fine, right? But it's not that bad. But when you go to the east coast, it's an absolute disaster.
Yeah. So tell us about the event that you guys just had out there.
So, okay, well, I'll wind back to April was our first event with Service Titan. And, the only reason these events really go ahead and for us, I would say, is because of Ellen Ross. She's just an absolute gem. She just pushes and gets shit done, really, end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. So first event was in April, and that was just a smaller event. And that went really well. So we had a lot of people turn up. Just 180 people turned up to that. So then we thought, okay, let's do another one in October. So we planned it, but we couldn't advertise it because we had Pantheon and they didn't want to cross advertising. So we had a ramp up. So after Pantheon finished, we started advertising Service Titan in October, right? So week one, we've got like 25 people and aim is here is 300. Reality was going to be, we should end up about 200. We got 220 people to the main day.
Nice.
And we had Tom Howard, we had Tommy Merlot, we had Ellen, and Service Titan did really well here. They brought 25 or 30 people across just to do troubleshooting for existing clients, which was fantastic. And the big thing with software, or this software particularly, is not the software. The software is awesome, we get that. But what really makes it is the community. The people around that turn up, the just great people. Like 200, I think on Tuesday, 220 people. Just fantastic people. All wanting to learn, all wanting to grow, all with a common goal. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. And, you got to admit, that's one of the things that's so fantastic about the trades is that there's just amazing people. And I tell people all the time, they're like, did you ever think you'd be in the plumbing and HVAC business, when you were growing up? Like, no, I had no idea. But man, I'm so grateful that I am because there's so many people that have helped me throughout my journey, that I have their numbers in my phone that I can text if I need something. They text me if they need something, like when I was launching the podcast originally. It was all, the first 50 episodes were friends that I had known for years. And I was like, hey, come be on my podcast. And they're like, sure. So
the community or the people in the community, right, in the trades are so down to earth.
Mm-hmm.
And they caring. And most tradies wear their heart in their sleeve, right? They're really emotional people, which is unique.
Mm-hmm.
and they're caring. That's the biggest thing. They care, and that's really important as well. We do a lot more of that.
So one of the big things with the podcast that I like to do, and I'm gonna put you on the spot right now because I got you on camera, it's recorded, you can't go anywhere. So one of the things we like to share is kind of what advice do you have for anybody who is in business? Let's say they've been in business 3 to 5 years and they're looking to grow, and the advice can be something that you duffed or just something that you know that is a hurdle that a lot of businesses have.
The biggest hurdle I see for people is they procrastinate.
Mm.
Get off the fence and get shit done. Doesn't matter what you do, just do something, one thing. Because when people sit there and they don't actually do anything and they just ponder, you become stagnant. And if I've out of it, everything I see to people, that is probably the number one issue. The number two issue is belief. Believe in yourself and believe in your worth. I bought a lot of businesses over the last 5 years, and every business I've bought, I reckon, is 40% off the pace in the price point. And there's nothing sadder than when you get to 55 or 60 and you run this business all your life and you're broke because you didn't believe in your worth, what you should charge. And that
you were
is
saving the customer to sacrifice yourself or your team members.
And how many, and that's a typical tradie, right? How many of them do that? That's a good way of putting it. Saving the customer and killing themselves
Mm-hmm.
and their family. And you see it, like I see it all the time, that they've gone through 2 or 3 marriages, never owned a house, couldn't give their children what they needed, all because they didn't believe what they were worth.
Yeah, being around acquisition, we sold our last business to a private equity. So I've been working with them on the acquisition side for quite some time. And it is so sad to see somebody who's been in business for 15, 20, 30 years. And they're like, I just need to sell my business. I've got to exit. And you're like, it's worth a customer database, maybe.
That's maybe.
Yeah. And that's so sad because you're putting forth the work and the effort and you're sacrificing and you're putting in the investment. And a lot of times, really, had you just worked for somebody, you'd have probably made more money and had a 401k.
You would have made way more money.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah. And that is, if I've got a mission in life, it is to change that belief for people that, hey, you're a tradie, you're awesome, you're worth your weight in gold. Don't not charge correctly, because if you do charge wrongly, your life sucks.
Right. Right. And I think that a lot of that shift, I mean, we always needed to charge the right price. I think the tipping point for a lot of people was when COVID happened and they started to realize that they were essential. Like you could not have plumbers and AC people, right? Like the banks can close, the government can shut down. Like there's all these things that can happen. But man, if there was no plumbers on the planet for, I don't know, 5 days, we would have a real health concern in this world.
Real health. Yeah. And I don't think they understand that. I really think the education piece around your worth as a plumber, HVAC, electrical, whatever, any trade really, is missing. We just don't educate enough.
Yeah, yeah.
And
a lot of times it comes from that one customer saying, "Well, I think that price is too high." It's like, great, based on what?
Yeah, what you compared to?
Yeah,
it's yeah. It is probably another thing that would be paramount too when you're talking, as you're in a business 3 to 5 years or even starting a business. Surround yourself with the right people.
Yeah,
winners, not whingers. There's so much to be learnt from so many great people. And what I've found and discovered in this world, if you want information or want to talk to someone who runs a great business, they're always willing to share, 99.9 of the time, right? They're happy to see, they want you to succeed. Ask them to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you do ask them to help you, listen and implement.
Yeah, and then do it. Yeah, that's the silver bullet in business. People are like, I just want the silver bullet. Great, it's implement. There you go.
People get, okay, I'm going to go on the service time. I got 10 trucks, and they expect to open a box of service partners and do everything for them. Well, you got to actually have a great business before you start,
right?
And then you got to implement it, and then you got to know it. or have people to know it for you. If you don't do that, it's freaking useless software like any other software. You have to work
Garbage
at it
in, garbage out.
100%, right? And,
Yep.
and that, a lot of people don't get that.
Yeah.
They think it's a magic bullet.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I have people that call me pretty frequently and ask me that they're not on Service Titan and they're going to Service Titan. And they ask me, they're like, is this the right move for me? And obviously I've been on Service Titan for a very long time. We've had R on the podcast. I've done those guys for years and years. And the answer is not always yes. And the truth is, even Service Titan will tell you that. I mean, that's why they're like, you got to have a minimum of X amount of trucks. And a lot of times what companies will do is they'll say, oh, well, yeah, just pay for those amount of trucks. Well, the reason Service Titan does that, I believe, is because you do have to have a certain level of sophistication before you can operate a system like that. As many years as we've been on it, we're still constantly evolving, adapting, changing. I mean, it is an ever moving software, which is badass, but it's not a set it and forget it.
Well, it's like a Ferrari. If you don't know how to drive it, it's just a car.
Right. You got to maintain it. It's expensive.
It's expensive. You got to look after it. But hey, what joy does it give you when you get it right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if people get that, and like anyone that knows me, they know I'm not a software guy, but my team lives it. All my reports come from it. And that's paramount as a business owner to be able to get all the information fast that you want. And the right information too, does help. So, and that's Service Titan does enable you to do that, which is fantastic. And that's what makes it a rock star software. But like all software, you got to work at it.
Right. And now that you have the information, now you have to know what to do with it. You have to do something with it.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about go back to the 80s or 90s, right? And you're working, job average, job ticket, not even on the radar.
Yeah.
And that world changes so quick. And now it's all about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the forefront is offer awesome service. So your clients love you and want to call you back.
I mean, yeah, as we talk about what the acquisition cost, what did it cost to acquire a customer these days is so very expensive. And you said this earlier, you said, over 70% of your customers are reoccurring. Well, that means that's 70% of new customers. You're not spending that amount of money for net new customers. That's a huge savings when it comes to marketing dollars. I mean, good Lord.
It even gets better than that. They know what you like and they're prepared to pay for it.
Yeah.
And that's way better than a new customer.
Right, that you're having to explain the process and train them.
Yeah. Well, we've got to educate your customer to love you.
Right.
That has to happen. If you don't do that, I believe if you don't do that, it's just a customer. And you want your customers to be customers for life. Good book, if you ever want to read a great book, is Customers for Life, Carl Searle, out of, he was the first Lexus dealer in the US. And his book, and it's a gospel for me, it's just how to treat people and keep people.
It is a good skill.
A great skill, but also you got to use it internally with your staff, right? You've got to love your staff and be part of their world to make them or get them to understand how much you care for them. Because when they understand how much you care for them, they care for your customer the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't take care of them, they're not going to take care of your customers, and ultimately that doesn't take care of you.
They're more important than your own customer at the end of the day. Yep. In my world, you have and I've got a great team. Like I was saying to my wife yesterday, here we are, 37, 38 years down the track, 100 people in this building, plumbers, CSOs, DSRs, marketing, everything. It's a pleasure or a joy to come to work and just hang out with cool people that are passionate in their chosen field, which is really unreal. That's in my world, that's priceless.
Well, and I hope that for the people that are listening that are in that stage of business where it's rough, and it's not all going the way you want it to go. I hope you heard that and you think about that, right? Like you get to build the culture, like you get to build it. You get to make the decisions of how the business is run. And now that can also be complacent, right? That you could not do anything and that's going to affect how the culture is built. But yeah, I think if you're intentional, like Scott said, if you're intentional, then you get to the point where you have this amazing team, you have a great culture. And then when you got to go to work, you're like, hell yeah, I get to go to work. Not, oh, it's Monday.
Monday, here goes Monday. I can't wait for Sunday to finish. Sometimes that might be a tragic situation for me, but I actually like it. Just the people are unreal. And it is such a joy. I mean, we all have bad days when you go, oh, freak, here goes another. It is. And even right through, even when we're small, right? And then you're 5 or 10 guys and some guy leaves, you go, how am I going to replace that? There's always someone turns up.
Yeah.
And as one of the good things about as you get bigger, you get to actually put on a better hat. And in my world, it's belief, culture, and building relationships, right, in our business, which is a really cool hat to wear compared to day-to-day grind and running a business. And it's also at this size, if you can run that right, and the people, you look after the people right, to just see, like, we start at 5:45 on Monday, right? Every Monday to Friday, 5:45 every morning. And I've got probably 15 young kids here under 22, all turning up with a smile on their face.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah. And that's what we all work for. If we can do that, we win the game.
Scott, man, I appreciate you coming and hanging out with us today. It was awesome to finally connect. I know we talked on the phone and text back and forth, but it's good to finally connect via video. Hopefully we'll meet in person.
We'll get in person. I'll be back in the States, or you'll be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you're always welcome to come over here. It's an open invitation.
Absolutely. I've never been to Australia, and it is definitely one of the places that I want to.
You're an empty nester, right?
So. Recently, man. So my wife just made this comment the other day. She said, this is our first semester of empty nesters. And I said, because our daughter, it's her first semester in college. So, so yes, we're empty nesters now, which is cool because we've had this crazy travel schedule from, I don't even know when, from September, basically when she went to school to after Thanksgiving. It's been just awesome, the amount of travel we've gotten to do. Exhausting too, but awesome and grateful that we get to do the cool things that we get to do.
Yeah, all supplied from a trade business, right? How good's
every
that?
Bit of it. Every bit of it. Yep, every bit of it. Well, cool, Scott. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out, and we will see you soon, man.
Absolutely, appreciate it. Take care.
You've been listening to the Freedom Blueprint Podcast. Information is useless if not applied. So take what you've learned and go and implement it. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on social media at Freedom Blueprint for Home Services and hit the website at www.freedomblueprintpodcast.com. See you next time.